Okay, here's where stuff's about to get fun. Now, we're going to talk about the supposed depth of Naruto. Now, I've touched on this once already, and the originality of this as well, but I've touched on depth already. I really don't know what more I can say. It's not that deep. Stealing from other mythologies. Creating it first, you got a series about ninjas that ain't even about ninjas. Was originally supposed to be about wizards. Problem is, the guys who frigging put out Shonen Jump said no, we're not gonna run the manga as is because it seems way too close to Harry Potter. There's some troubles right there, eh? Well, because of this similarity to Harry Potter, Masashi Kishimoto just admits that he just kind of ruminated through what else is cool and picked ninjas. So he just literally created a series about ninjas that ain't about ninjas because ninjas are cool. Okay? So, creates a series about ninjas that ain't about ninjas. Now I know people are going to say, how are they not ninjas? Oh my god. Here's an idea. Stop watching freaking TV. Stop watching freaking movies about what ninja are. And read about them. None of the over-the-top tales. None of the fiction. Read history. What they were. What they did. Closest depiction I've seen, historically speaking, to ninja is a film called Ninja. It's a B movie. Went straight to DVD. Great movie, though. Better than a lot of what Hollywood puts out. But that is what ninja are. Okay? Not freaking Naruto. Alright? These guys struck from the shadows. They concealed themselves. They blended in by any means necessary. And that was it. They didn't come out and face each other standing in an open field and whip out kunai and start throwing them at each other and do dueling blades and then unleash super powerful magic attacks. No. God, no. For a ninja to enter into a one-on-one battle or to make his presence known, he was dead if he didn't do it right. That's the only reason that they've maintained their mythological status, though, because they were using the element of surprise. They set up traps, they used trickery. Not because, they stand out in the middle of a caravan and unleash a giant water dragon that, nothing like this. Alright? Now, it's a series about ninjas, it's not really about ninjas. It steals from other mythologies. And, it borrows from Japanese mythology, it borrows from various Japanese mythologies. It borrows from, in one case, someone said it took from Egyptian mythology. And a lot of people are like, oh, that's a good thing. No, it's not. Here's why. Because they don't blend. They don't mix. When you try to do that, you're losing the point of what you're basing it on. Understand me? Now, we're going to come back to this in a second here, though, okay? Here's also the problem. When by doing this, he broke the flow of his own story and broke established character traits, broke established effects of what different techniques did, and perhaps most notably of all, broke the fact that every single time a vessel has a demon sealed inside them and it's removed, they die. This is a fact that you cannot ignore, that you cannot deny, that you cannot erase. And yet, every time, despite this, when Kushina has the Kyuubi, which is somehow out of nowhere sealed inside her, removed, she is not only alive but up and walking around. And this is also not too terribly long after having a child. Not only that, but when her husband does cast the Shiki Fujin to seal it, which is supposed to require pretty much complete concentration. You gotta maintain your seal, you gotta do this and that. He has his soul ripped out, dangling above him. Same with the Kyuubi, who is still able to attack, inexplicably. He's casting other jutsus. His wife, who should be dead, he manages to seal part of her soul into their son, as well as his own, even though it's not even in his body, but it's up there now. Are you seeing the issue here? This is what I mean. This is not a deep plot. This is a broken plot that is scrambling for any semblance of meaning. See, the problem with you guys is you're looking at it piece by piece. You refuse to look at the big picture. You flat out refuse to look at the big picture because it shatters your freaking vision of perfection. You got it? Now, let's move on to, well, frankly, the originality. I can tell you right off the bat, Naruto is not original in any way, shape, or form. That doesn't make it bad. Not everything that's not original is bad. Like I said, Star Wars, very unoriginal. Took the whole father-son plot, the whole, good versus evil, rebellion versus a galactic empire type thing. A small rebel force against a great big ruling class. They clashed. Not the most original story, but it was still good because of how the characters were presented, how the plot was presented, and it was done in a very good way. That's how it managed to maintain classic status despite not being original. No one faults it for not being original because no one ever claimed it was original. Alright? Now, Naruto could have still been the same thing. Why you try to claim to such claims of originality as a desperate attempt to claim it's good, I don't know. But it ain't original. At all. It's actually quite the opposite. Quite the opposite. Let's see here. It took very heavily from a lot of series, including his own brother's series. Such as, let's see here, the demons being, sealed inside multiple people, and they're used as weapons. That's the demons being sealed inside Naruto. That frankly, that was in Naruto first. You can't fault it for that. But when this series came out, it introduced the concept of multiple demon containers being used as weapons. When this came out, it introduced, frankly, the concept of let's see here. The fact that the spirit is not in fact passive, but it's malevolent and actively plotting to take over. It introduced the concept of an organization going around hunting these things to place them into a giant weapon. It introduced the concept of someone from the past actually being the head of this organization, and you don't know who it is, but then there's the big reveal. And it turns out to be someone related to one of the main characters. Okay, let's see here. Also has, let's see, the Bound Sword, the Eternal Black Flame, the, oh jeez, what else haven't I covered? Let's see, organization, head of the organization actually being someone's relative, indirectly, so on and so forth. Okay, yeah, there's also the character Jin. Jin's very interesting. He's pretty much the anti-Sasuke. Now, why do we call him the anti-Sasuke? Well, because he's kind of like Sasuke in that when he meets up with Gio, the main character again, he's fully intent on killing him. He wants revenge. He blames him for a lot of what's happened to him. He hates him with a passion. Their whole battle actually reminds me an awful lot of the whole Sasuke and Naruto fight, except Gio's not chasing Jin. About the motives behind it, the whole fact that he's angry that he lost his family, all that. Yeah, that's there. And here's the thing: Jin learns to let go of his hate. Jin learns that hatred and revenge, it's a never-ending cycle. Now see, whereas Naruto has this theme of war is always hatred no matter what, then, which is frankly not true. And it's also diametrically opposed to one of the themes expressed in Dragon Ball, which is that there are those whose voice people who, your voice cannot reach them. They can't be reasoned with, and you have to deal with them accordingly. That's real life. There's some people who, no matter what you say to them, are not going to stop. They're not going to change. And you got to deal accordingly. And these people, you know, yeah, you got to deal with them accordingly. And it's something that's also expressed in Opart's Hunter, which is his brother's series, because in that series they know for a fact that you cannot, always say that war is born out of hatred. There is a large fight going on throughout the series, civil war basically, where the people involved are fighting for their freedom. Not because they hate someone, it's a freedom fight. So, yeah, that's frankly a bullcrap statement. But, there's all kinds of stuff that's appeared in this series and frankly happens first before it shows up in Naruto. Then there's also several things taken from Dragon Ball. Now you can claim that they're homages, or you can claim that they're rip-offs. It doesn't matter. The fact is, it did get the idea from somewhere else. You have Naruto and Sasuke, who, according to Masashi Kishimoto himself, remind him of Naruto, or of Goku and Vegeta. Now that right there says something, because they're absolutely nothing like Goku or Vegeta. And yet, he thinks they are. That tells you something about how well this man can grasp even his own characters. But, moving on. You got, let's see, who else here? Naruto's whole look is based almost entirely on Goku's Super Saiyan form. The blonde hair, the blue eyes, the orange outfit. And, there's really nothing wrong with that. I mean, it's an homage. Who cares? But there's also the red Kyuubi chakra, which harms the user, much like the red aura of the Kaioken, which harms the user. You got, Kisame actually doing a freaking Kamehameha, pretty much. There's a lot of stuff that's taken from, other stuff. And then again, there's the mythologies brought in, the actual stories from legend. That is not originality. That is literally taking another story. And doing whatever. Now, a lot of people are going to say, well, what about Dragon Ball? Dragon Ball did the same thing with Journey to the West. No. Dragon Ball took a small portion of its story from Journey to the West, and it was spoofed. Dragon Ball was one of the first series of its kind, frankly. It was a spoof series in that it spoofed, and at the same time was a tribute to Journey to the West, much like Dragon Ball Z Abridged is a tribute to Dragon Ball Z. It was... it put shonen on the map, really. There wasn't anything like it at the time. It was one of the first actual action comedy series. That stuff hadn't been seen back then. And frankly, some of the arguments I'm seeing were because it has martial arts in it, it's not original, nor because Dragon Ball Z later reveals Goku's an alien, it's not original. That's been used throughout time. To say that, you'd have to say nothing that's been out in the last 1,000 years has been original. But anyways, I digress. The point is, Naruto is nowhere near as deep as you like to make it out to be. Naruto is nowhere near as original as you guys like to make it out to be. Now, this is not necessarily speaking on the quality of the series, which is crap, mind you. But it is dealing with your delusion. Might want to let it go, guys. Seriously.